Right, welcome everybody. I hope we're ready to roll. And we are kicking off today with Thomas Egenus, lesson 4. On the previous session, previous grammar session a couple of weeks ago, I tried to cram in the first few lines of lesson 4 in the last few minutes after lesson 3. Not a good move. I was taking Rudyard Kipling a bit literally, you know, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Okay, I won't take him too literally, as I did then. So, Thomas Egenus, lesson 4. I'll just run quickly through a few more letters of the alphabet. Oh, right, yes. I think we have a new face here. Is that Dong Do? So welcome Dong Do. Welcome. Is there anyone else who's here for the first time? Okay. Anyway, welcome Dong Do. First of all, can you please unmute yourself and tell me the correct pronunciation of your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Dong Do. Dong is first name, Do is surname.
Dong Do.
Yeah. But just call me Dong. Dong is first name, it's okay.
That's Dong.
Yeah,
Is there any particular tone in which I should pronounce Dong, like Dong, 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 Dong?
No, just Dong, that's okay.
Just Dong, as in ding dong. Okay, jolly good, got it. Thank you, Dong. Thank you, Dong.
Thank you very much.
Right. Now, let's go straight then into these new consonants we have. Hopefully you all have the Thomas Egenus book with you. I'm just going to share screen so I can write them for you. Hang on, share screen. Here we go. Right. We're looking now at page 32 in Thomas Egenus, and you'll see that first row of consonants. This is the one I'm looking at here on page 32. And these are the retroflexes. These are the ones, for example, where if we're writing, sorry, my pen isn't penning. So I don't know what's happened here. I'm trying to make my pen work, but it's not. Do you know, this is a nuisance. I got this Apple pen here. Now, for the first time ever, it's just not cooperating. Does anyone have any brilliant ideas?
Could always try restarting the machine, possibly. So turn it off and turn it on again.
Turn it off and turn. Sorry about that, chaps. Okay, let me do that. Hopefully, you'll all have the Thomas Egenus book in front of you. And if you look at that row of consonants, right, let me write a simple letter in Roman script. Make it simple. The letter T. That's a T, a gentle T. And if, when we're writing in Roman script, we want to have the retroflex, totally different sounds for the native speaker. we write a dot under it because we do not have a separate letter in the Roman script. And the same pronounced for ta, ta, da, da, and da, da. In the Devanagari script, we have entirely different letters for them. So as we all know, this is the letter for the. Now look at the letter for the is that. Now, one thing you will notice about these letters, just watch me writing them. This is da. Da. And da. One thing you will notice is that they are all much more wiggly than most of the other letters. Now, I have not seen in any work that I have looked at from Panini up to this day any official word for wiggly or any discussion of wiggliness. However, there is one possible interpretation, is that we typically find that in quite a lot of Sanskrit words, particularly those that begin with a retroflex, da, da, and so on, that they often refer to flora and fauna, specifically of the subcontinent, that are not to be found in northern climes. This is some indicative evidence of the northern origins of the very strong evidence of the northern origins of this of ancient Indo-European, and that originally it did not have the separate set of retroflexes, the tar, da, and da. And maybe as time went on, they used different local letters for those sounds. If you look at the scripts of southern India, particularly Malayalam and Sinhala, they're much more wiggly and curly. And maybe they borrowed these symbols to represent these wiggly, curly letters. Incidentally, another reason for the wiggly, curly nature of the southern scripts is, I don't know how serious the explanation is, it sounds plausible enough, is that back in the very, very old days, when they were writing by using a stylus, a sharp object, to write on a palm leaf, if you wrote with straight lines, you'd simply cut a slit in the palm leaf. If you wrote in wiggly lines, you had a much better chance of not splitting the palm leaf. Anyway, for what it's worth, I don't know. So when I'm writing these letters, you'll see that there's a far lesser risk of me splitting the screen of my iPad than when I write a much bolder straight line like that. So these are the four retroflexes, and the retroflex n, written like that. That's the n. You'll often see it written like this as well. There's purely a matter of style. There's no distinction between them. It's the same letter. Typically in handwriting, you tend to see this simpler form, but you'll very often see it in print as well. Now, below these consonants, the next row of consonants, which are to the English ear can sound a bit the same, but they're completely different sounds to the native Indian ear, which is ta, ta, da, and dha. For this dha, you often see it written like this. Again, a matter of style. It's the same letter. So this is something really it's best for you to practice on your own. I just mentioned these as we go along. You'll see the additional letters given at the bottom la and the, sorry, the la. You won't find these in classical Sanskrit, but you do find them if you go to Vedic, the pre-Parnanian Sanskrit. And I am well aware that Desmond is perfectly capable of giving us the first two words of the first verse of the first hymn of the Rig Veda, which has this consonant L. Desmond, would you like to recite a bit of Vedic for us? Clue, it begins with Agnim. Unmute, Desmond.
I know it begins with Agnimile.
That's got it, you got it. But Agnim, okay, it's ile, Agni, irle.
Ile.
Ah, but it's not a L. You got to bend your tongue backwards a bit. Like the Peter Sellers, you got to do the same with an L. Irle.
Irle.
That's it, you got it, you got it. In fact, okay, thanks, Desmond. In fact, in classical Sanskrit, it's ide with a d, like a subdotted d. However, when there's in Vedic, when the subdotted d, the retroflex d comes between two vowels, it turns to a l. Exactly the same as in modern Hindi, when a d comes between two vowels, it changes to a r. That's why bada, bada, the bada sahab, and so on. So, rather than spend more time on the shapes of the consonants, which hopefully you'll be able to get for yourselves, fairly soon now, because it won't be long before we're getting onto an exercise where everything is given in the Devanagari script. There are some exercises you have them in parallel. Then we get to a lesson, I forget which number, where they're in Devanagari only. So going now to lesson 35, I'll just read to you before we get on to the exercises. So Sanskrit nouns, it says, formed in a similar way as verbs. The root dhatu forms the stem, the pratipadika, and the endings are added to form a noun. Nouns in various cases, vibhakti, depending on their role in the sentence. So in this lesson, we do the two cases. So far, we've done the first case, which is the nominative case. That's used for naming the subject, as where you say I instead of me or my or to me. I. That's the equivalent of our nominative. Nominative case is also used for a predicate nominative identified with the subject. So where Muhammad Ali says, I am the greatest, the I is in the nominative and the greatest is also in the nominative. In India, words are normally cited independently in the nominative or the naming case. So if you ask an Indian, just what's the name for king, you say Raja. You just use the nominative case because it hasn't yet grown any endings by reason of its being in a position, a sentence where it needs to change. Note the naming of the cases in English based on our classical tradition. We've got the nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, instrumental, ablative, locative, and so on, based on the Latin and Greek tradition. They have a much simpler way of doing it in Sanskrit and also Pali. They just call it first through to seventh, and the vocative can be the eighth. So when you see at the first line of paragraph 2 here, the nominative pratama, pratama is simply the feminine form of the adjective pratama, meaning first. So pratama stem form, feminine pratama. And dvitiya. Dvitiya stem form, and the feminine dvitiya. Just so they call the nominative case the pratama or pratama vibhakti, literally the first division, and the accusative is dvitiya vibhakti, and so on through to the seventh. And some grammarians, a lot of grammarians will try and lump the vocative in with the nominative. I personally think that's wrong because in many cases it differs from the nominative, but we can conveniently call that the eighth case. Sanskrit grammarians are a bit shy about calling it the eighth case because Panini didn't use that phrase. I think he should have done. Sanskrit grammarians are shy about using it. Pali grammarians are quite happy about talking about the eighth case being the vocative. So the accusative is the direct object. In most modern European languages, the Slavonic languages, of course, retain it. Modern Greek retains it, but most modern European languages have lost the distinction between the nominative and the accusative. We just retain it in the personal pronouns in English. I mean, for example, we say, you know, he likes her and she likes him, but you would not hear him likes she and or her likes he, unless you're a Devon farmer. You know, the people in the countryside around me where I sit, you might still hear it said. Him likes she and her likes he. Anyway, there we are. This shows how the shape of the word can change depending on when it's nominative or accusative. In English, we've mostly lost we've kind of retained the genitive with our apostrophe s and my and your and so on. But in this lesson, we're just doing nominative and accusative. So the accusative is used as a direct object, as in him likes she or he likes her. And it also is used as the accusative of motion. Those of you who know Latin will know the motion towards something will take the accusative. And the same, of course, in German. So, looking at paragraph 3 in the sentence, the man goes to the horse. The word man would be in the nominative, and the word horse would be in the accusative. So the man goes to the horse would be, without sandhi, narah ashvam gachati. So narah in the nominative, ashwam ending in an accusative, gachati, he goes. In the masculine, you will find, and same applies to the feminine that we haven't officially come to yet, that the characteristic ending of the accusative is an So if you look at paragraph 4, nominative narah, accusative naram. So I see the man is the man sees is narah pashyati, but I see the man would be naram pashyami. The dual ends in an au. Let me write this down. So the dual, so we've got nara, naram accusative, dual, narau. Note that in the dual, the nominative and the accusative are always the same. Now come to the plural. In the singular, nara, and in the plural, it just lengthened the R, narah. And that's the nominative, and the accusative, naram and naran. Don't be put off by all these endings. If you're put off now, be encouraged by the fact that there are hundreds more to learn as we go along. And it's such fun if you're a complete grammar geek like me. If you look at the bottom, or towards the bottom of paragraph 4 on page 33, you'll see the Sanskrit names are given for these, what we call the numbers in Western grammars. They call it a voice, confusingly there. So the ekavachana, literally the one voice, means the voice or the sound you make for one person, singular. Dvi means two. So dvivachana, the two voice, what you say for two things. And the bahuvachana, bahu means many. Bahuvachana, the many voice. For the Latinists among you, remember that when we talk about a voice in Western grammar, we're talking about active and passive, and in Greek, middle. When the word vachana is used in Sanskrit grammar, it actually refers to the number, singular, dual, plural. Now, I just want to make one point that's useful to remember. You'll see at the very bottom of page 33. In pre-Vedic times, in very ancient times, these words that we see now ending in an ah actually used to end in an s. And we still see that final s in classical Greek and in modern Greek, the characteristic final s of the nominative. And we still see it, and we see it in Latin, though it has been lost in the modern European languages that derive from Latin, but we still see it in many, not all, but many, the most common nominatives, masculine nominatives in Latin. So this subdotted H, we call it subdotted H, well, for obvious reason, an H with a dot under it. This is a remnant of the S, and it's a rule of Sanskrit phonetics that a word in pause, that's at the end of a word, at the end of a sentence, or at the end of a word group, it can't end in an S. The S has to change to this ah sound. Sometimes we aren't absolutely sure how it was pronounced. It could have been pronounced, or may have been pronounced by different people in different ways. So let's take the word for a man. It could have been pronounced with a kind of rasping H, as in narah, narah. That's possible. It also could have been pronounced as written as if it were written like this, with a slight echo of the vowel, naraha, naraha. You will very often find, hearing Sanskrit spoken by modern Indians, that if the word occurs at the end of a verse or the end of a sentence, the end of a word group, they will tend to pronounce it like that, with what you call the shadow vowel, naraha. If, however, it's immediately followed by another word, like pashyati, he sees, the man sees, it tends to become more like a ah sound, narah pachyati. So if you reverse the order of the words, pashyati naraha, that shadow ah, whereas if the visarga is followed by another word, just a rasping H, narah pashyati. Now, moving on to page 34, a bit more grammar here, chaps, sorry about that. Hope you enjoy it. So a bit more grammar. Verb and subject must agree in number, in both English and Sanskrit, though we've mostly lost the concordance between subject and verb. Save in the verb to be, you know, but I am, and in the Old English, thou art, he is, we are, and so on. But this concordance between the numbers the ending of the verb and whether it's singular, dual, or plural remains throughout all of the verb forms in Sanskrit. So we have a remnant of it in English. We have to say the man goes or the men go. It's just a remnant in English. But in Sanskrit, it remains fully in place throughout. The direct object need not agree with either subject or verb. I'd change that. The direct object cannot, it does not agree with subject or verb. By agree, meaning, if it's a singular noun, it has to be a singular subject, has to be a singular verb, and so on. If it's an accusative noun, it has to be an accusative adjective. That is what we mean by agreement. So we're learning here the roots of the agent construction, like A does B. It gives the Sanskrit words for them. Now we come to, I'm skipping through this because it's probably easier for you to read this on your own. We'll run through until we get to the exercises. One thing that is important is in paragraph 7, a noun in apposition. Apposition is where you say the noun, whatever it is, often a name, and follow it by other words descriptive of that name. Rama, the boy, is here. Rama, the boy, is here. Rama, the servant, is here. Right. Rama, the servant, is here. Ramo daso atra sti. That's without santi. Now, because the servant is in apposition to Rama. In other words, additional words further describing. Now, supposing you say, hail to Caesar. You might use the dative in Latin, hail to Caesar. Caesar, hail to Caesar, Emperor of Rome. To Caesar goes in the dative. Emperor of Rome are descriptive words following on. They would also go in the dative. So treat it as one entire noun phrase. And you get exactly the same happening in Sanskrit and Pali. So normal word order number 8 is subject, direct object, and then verb. So the man goes to the horse without santi. Naraha ashvam gacchati. Did you notice there that there was a little shadow that I naraha ashvam gacchati? That came out because I was deliberately pronouncing the words in isolation from each other. Normally it would be naroshvam gacchati. Towards the end of 8, because narah ends in the H, that's subdotted H, we know that it's the man who is doing the going. In other words, it's a nominative. If you look at this where I'm ringing this word, narah, that can only be a nominative because all of the other forms of it, naram, narasya, naraya, and so on, they will all have different endings. If it's narah, with ending with the subdotted H, in the ancient language naras, then that can only be the nominative, that namely the subject of the sentence. So, writing here without santi, narah ashvam gacchati, the man goes to the horse. Word, that's the normal order. Word order is not rigid in Sanskrit any more than it is in Latin. And one of the reasons that the word order in both Sanskrit and Latin and Pali and other inflected languages is not that rigid, one reason is because the ending of the word itself will tell you what its function in the sentence is. And for example, in English, if we say the man sees the horse, the word order itself indicates that the man is seeing The horse is the object, the horse is what he is seeing, the man sees the horse. If you want to turn it the other way around, say the horse sees the man, it's the word order in English that will tell us which it is. We could say in Sanskrit, reversing the normal word order, we've reversed the normal word order, but you can still, yes, we've reversed the normal word order because here the subject is the ashva. And we know it's the subject, not because of its position in the sentence, but because it's got the nominative ending. And we know that naram is the accusative, the object of the verb, because it's got the accusative ending. So even though we've kept the same, even though we've broken the usual word order, there's still no ambiguity there, because it's the endings of these nouns tell us the position, tell us their function rather, their function in the sentence. So we'll just look quickly through the vocabulary before getting onto the exercises. There's the ashwa, meaning a horse. And many of you will have heard me saying this before, particularly my Pali students, but you will very often find that where you get a sh sound in Sanskrit, this often becomes a k sound, whether written as a C or a K or a Q in Greek and Latin. And that is why the Sanskrit ashwa, horse, is exactly the same word as the Latin equus, an equestrian, and so on. Equus meaning a horse. You get so many words like this. We'll have more fun with that as we go along. So we've got the ashwa gajah, an elephant, narah, man, putra is a son, mriga, a deer, rama, a name, and va as an indeclinable always comes after the word. It can never start a sentence or a word group. It always is an enclitic that's tacked onto the end of a word. So nouns and verbs you can connect with cha meaning and or va meaning or. When two nominatives are connected with va, the verb agrees with the nominative closest to it. So in the illustrative sentence here, I'll read first of all without sandhi and then with sandhi. Ashva gajah va gachanti. So gachanti in the plural, not because the entire phrase involves multiple beings, but because the nearest noun is in the plural. If you were going to say the horses, plural, and the elephant, singular, go, you'd say ashvascha gajascha gachati. So because although the entire thing is the compound subject, horses and an elephant, although the totality is plural, the nearest noun is singular, so the verb is singular. And that actually is contrary to Latin and the modern European languages. So and then there's a bit about writing correct English. I'm just going to remind you a bit of sandhi. Where you get, I may have done this before, I can't remember, where you get a word ending in ah, which is very, very common because it's the most common masculine singular ending. When it is followed by a voiced consonant, the voiced as opposed to a stop. It changes to an o. So narah, the man, gachati, goes. But now applying sandhi, naro gachati. And in your reading of Sanskrit, whenever you see a word ending in o, 90% or more than 90% of the time, it is by sandhi from an original ah to an o. And also, when a word ends in an ah, followed by another word beginning with a short ah, rather confusingly, the whole lot merge into a single o. So narah asti becomes, sorry about that, I didn't invent the grammar, this just happens. It becomes narosti. You know, Cora, when I first discovered this rule of grammar, I put on exactly the same face as you did then. That was 55 years ago. Don't worry, I got used to it since. You will too. So, narah asti, narosti. Oops, sorry, what have we done here? And also, another very common bit of sandhi, words ending in an ah. If it's followed by another word beginning sh, the becomes sh. So, and the man. So, narah sh, and the man. That becomes narashcha. It's a word you all, this is the word you all know. It's namas, from the root nam, meaning to bow. The reason I'm choosing this because you actually, one of those things you know without knowing you know it. Nam means to bow. Namas is a bowing, therefore salutation, homage. Normally on its own, it would be written as nama. When it's followed, when this final as is followed by a word beginning with the ta or a ta, the S, the original ancient S comes back. That is why we say namaste, namaste, literally homage to thee, a bowing to thee.
Can I ask something, James?
Please, Mariano.
When you write in Devanagari, when you write narosti, is it plain narosti or is there any?
Narosti.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can have a little sign there that's written like that. Okay, looks a bit like an English S. It's called the avagraha.
Goodness.
Avagraha. It means that something that it indicates that a letter has been taken out. It's that is put in very much like the apostrophe in English and other European languages, including your beautiful Italian, the apostrophe to indicate that a vowel has been dropped. Now, avagraha, because the letter has been taken away. This word is an ancient word of Sanskrit grammar. Here's a nice bit of etymology. We use almost, well, you can, by etymology, reproduce almost the same word in English. Ava means off, and grah from grab means to grab. So avagraha or avagrabha means the off grabbing. It means that a letter has been grabbed off, has been taken out. So let me write without sandhi. Narah asti. This is narah asti without the sandhi. With the sandhi, watch this now. narosti. Look here, naro. Then this avagraha, and then sti. So this avagraha to indicate that the a has been dropped out. And you'll often find it written even more helpfully with a space like that. Narusti. You leaving that space to indicate that it's a different word. It's a matter of typographical style. Neither is right. Sorry, neither is wrong. That they're both. You'll see them both frequently used.
Thank you.
Right, Mariano. Right. This comes to the point. Please don't let me see too many screens going blank, because for Dong, you're new to us. We have this lovely rule, Dong, that I don't force anybody to perform. I don't force anybody to speak out loud. Apart from Desmond, he's grown up. He can take it. So the rule is then, I'm now going to ask you to read some things. I'll ask you in turn to read some things and to translate. And the rule is that if you leave your face visible to me, then you are in the firing line to get asked. If you blank your face, if you blank your screen, then it means that you are not volunteering to be asked. A time may come, in fact, I imagine a time will have to come. Actually, I'm getting a real sadistic streak in me now. The time will come when you ought to be forced to take part. I don't know if I'm going to do this. You might all disappear if I do. The time might come when I no longer allow you to hide behind a blank screen. But anyway, I won't do it this time, and I promise I will give you warning if I do. Maybe I won't. I don't want to see you dwindling. So here we are. Hopefully we have all got we're open at page 36 on eagerness. Oh, one thing I do want to mention, another bit of Sandhi, which we're going to see here. I've told you what happens to the ah before various other letters. If you get a long ah, as in the men, narah, that's a little bit simpler. What happens there is that before any other vowel or before a voiced consonant, it simply drops off. So the men say, without Sandhi, narahavadanti, it's a voiced consonant. So just all that happens is the visarga drops off. By the way, what we call the subdotted H is the visarga in Sanskrit. Visarga just means expulsion, emission, like the puffing out of the breath, like a pushing out, visarga. And so before a soft vowel, it drops off, and before before a soft consonant, it drops off, and before any vowel, it drops off. So the men see the horses, for example. Without Sandhi, narah, ashvan, accusative plural, pashyanti. Before the vowel, again, it just drops off. So narah, ashvan, pashyanti. Right. Okay, Bob, you're first on my screen. So can you read us the sentence 4a? Read it firstly without the sandhi and then with the sandhi.
Okay, so without the sandhi, naraha mirgam smaranti.
Yes.
Okay. With the sandhi, I think it is nara mirgam smaranti.
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there was more of the Tunbridge Wells and the Geordie there, but
I think I'm working on it.
so very good. And the translation?
Well, the translation will be the first. The nominative is the men, and remember the deer.
Right. How many deer?
Now there would be several deer. Is that right?
Because it's
remember one deer.
Well, that's right. Oh, it's okay. Slightly confusing in English because deer and deer same for singular and plural. How would you have said it, Bob, if it were one man remembering multiple deer?
Okay.
How would you say that? The man remembers the deer, plural.
Okay. So that would be singular male, naraha. Let me see. Mirgan.
Sorry, what was the last verb you said?
Mirgan smaranti. Is that correct? Oh, sorry, no, it's no. Yes.
You've had the opportunity to correct yourself.
Okay, here we go.
What was wrong before you correct it? What was wrong?
Smaranti.
Yes. Why was it wrong?
Singular. It's got.
Yes, it should be singular.
It's got to agree with the subject, the naraha. Okay.
Exactly so. So now say with sandhi in pure fluent Sanskrit, the man remembers the deer, plural.
Man remembers the deer.
That's the one you just said.
Okay. Naraha. Sorry, naro. Is that right?
Yes, got it.
Naro mirgam. And it's singular, is it? Just the man. Smaranti.
Yes.
Smaranti.
That's it. You got it. Excellent. Oh, by the way, as we go along, of course, you've got the sentences as they're written here in the book, and you've got all of the answers that are given at the key at the end of the book. That is why, as we go along, I will be inviting you out of my own head to say the sentence in a different form with different meanings, different subjects and objects. Just in case, not that any of you stand accused of it, you've just been busy learning it all by heart, you see. Right. Bill, you're next for the next sentence.
Shall I read it out?
Yes, please. First of all, without the sandhi, and then with sandhi.
Rama ashvau gachati.
Right.
I need to work on my pronunciation, probably.
The gachati, it's more normal to put a bit of the stress slightly on the first syllable here, because
Gachati.
it's followed gachati. Well, I should mention, having said that, that stress is not actually that important in Sanskrit. In Vedic, the tone was quite important, but it's pronounced with a very slight natural stress. But it's not an essential, important feature of the language, as it is in, say, English, Italian, Russian, where where the stress goes on a word can actually alter the meaning of a word. In Sanskrit, it's not that important, though, as well, to try and get it right. So we've got a heavy syllable, gach, by heavy, a short vowel followed by a doubled consonant, followed by two light syllables, ati, So the stress, slight stress tends to go on the first one, gachati. Okay, so Bob, if you can give us, Bill, sorry, if you can give that, sorry, I'll call back, I'm teaching. If you can give us that in, with Santi then, Bill, that sentence.
Okay.
That's
Ramos vo gachati.
okay, excellent. And the meaning is?
It's Rama goes to the two horses.
Exactly so. If it was multiple horses, what would you say?
Let's see now. Rama Ashfao Gachanti.
Oh no, it's still got to be gachati because it Rama, which is a singular
right.
person. So the difference will be instead of ashvau, which is specifically two horses, so Rama goes to the horses, and the number of horses is 3 or more.
Right.
What would that be?
Okay. So Rama Ashvau.
Ashvau is where Ashvau is specifically a dual, 2 of them. We want the plural.
I got it. Okay.
Sorry, we want the
plural, yeah.
accusative
Rama
plural.
Ashva Gachati.
Ah, you use the nominative. We need the accusative.
I think I might have to just practice that a wee bit.
Yeah. Try and relax as much as John English's cat is relaxing on the sofa behind him. Very relaxed looking cat there behind you, John.
Okay. So it's Rama goes to the
Plural horses.
To the horses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Rama horses. Rama horses. Oh, Ashvan.
Yes, that's it.
To the two horses.
And then just goes.
Yeah, it just goes. Gachanti. Oh,
No,
no, sorry, Gachati.
Gachati. So
Yeah.
then, so with the Santi, then that would just be Ramushvan Gachati. Ramushvan Gachati.
Ramoshvan Gachati.
You've got it. Right. Okay. Thank you, Bill. Christine, you're next in line. So that's sentence C.
Okay, ready to go.
Here we go. Yeah, you can hear you loud and clear, Christine.
Okay, so C, Kutra, Gaja, Vazanti.
Okay, say again.
Kutra, Gaja, Vazanti.
Vasanti. Yeah, Vasanti. Yeah. Okay. So Kutra Gaja Vasanti. Correct. And now say it with Santi. And what change are you going to make the Santi in this sentence?
Oh. I'm looking at the written script.
Yeah, okay. So we've got a word ending, if you look at my iPad. we have got the ah followed by a voiced consonant.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
And so,
Consonant. It wouldn't be a Joe.
no, all that happens, because it's a, if it were the singular, the elephant, this is actually, let me write them here
Keeping it plural.
together.
Jar.
Yeah, okay, if we put gajah vasati, oops, that has to become gajo vasati, the elephant lives, okay? But because it's a short ah. Where, however, we have the long ah, followed by vasanti, all that happens is the visarga drops off. Gaja vasanti.
Gaja vasanti.
Yes. So where do the elephants, plural, live? If you just say that for us, Christine.
Oh. Kutra. Kutra gajan vasanti.
So did you say gajan?
Gajan.
Oh no, that would be the, because the gaja.
Oh, sorry. Here we go. Okay. Gaja. Oh, gajan. Gaja.
Gaja, yes, God.
Gaja.
Excellent.
Okay. Other than gaja, gaja.
Yes, kutra gaja vasanti. Where do the elephants, plural, live? Very good. Right, John. John, you're next on my gallery view. So that's sentence D.
Narao Ramam Vadataha.
Correct.
Which is now my brain's gone dead. The men, two of them, speak of Rama.
Speak to Rama.
Speak to Rama.
Actually, do you know, you're right, because it also could be, because if you speak to somebody using the verb vad, it can take the accusative of the person you're speaking to. And it can also take the accusative of what you're speaking to him about. So if the two men are speaking to Rama about the deer, you could actually say Narau Ramam Mrigam Vadata, both of them in the accusative. So when you gave the about as the alternative, you were actually right.
Right. Well, I wasn't quite sure.
Okay. Now, you often happen, if you aren't quite sure which one is right, it very often happens that they might both be. Right. This verb vad, it means actually both to speak and to say. And we know this because we know this word vada as a verbal noun. From vad you make vada, meaning the speaking or the saying, and by extension the teaching. And that's how we get the word Theravada. The Theravada, the speaking, the speech, the sayings, or the teaching of the elders. So can you just sorry, John, yes?
No, it was Mariano. Would you say that vate is cognate with vad?
So vate?
Vate in Latin, someone who speaks inspired something. it is like an oracle or something.
Oh, Avate, the Vatis. That is probably from the root Bha,
Aha.
which is from in Greek is Fe.
Yeah.
And so,
Thank you.
in fact, the word that's from Bha or Bhas. And that's why, for example, the word prophet, in Greek, propetes, one who speaks forth, one who speaks out. The idea is one who speaks in the name of the Lord is a prophet. And if you profess something, you speak it out, you speak like a profession of faith. The Vade is more likely to be from that, from the Bha root rather than the Vad root.
Thank you.
Okay. Right, okay, John, before we let you off the hook, can you just transpose sentence D into the plural of the plural of the subject, of course. So yeah, it's Ramam, so which has to be singular anyway. So the various men are speaking to Rama. The men plural are speaking to Rama.
Naraha Ramam Vadata. Yeah.
We have a conflict here because you gave us a plural subject, but with a dual verb. You said Nara Vedata. Nara is distinctly plural, whereas the verb you gave Vedata is the dual. I've seen Narau Vedata, the two men speak, but Nara. Yes, carry on. You're nearly there.
Vedanti.
Yes, yes, exactly so. So now with Sandhi, the men plural are speaking to Rama would be
Nara.
with Sandhi, remember? I'll just give you a clue because it's got to be Nara. But the next word begins with a voiced consonant, a r, and so the visarga drops off.
So Nara.
Yeah, without any H on them, just Nara.
Nara. Ramam Vadanti.
Correct, that's right. Right, now for the debut performance by Dong. Right, you're on, Dong, for sentence E. So recite in Sanskrit first without the Sandhi. We can't hear you, Dong.
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I haven't got anything with me. I don't know where did you get from.
Okay, right. If you haven't got the book,
No, but I only joined about 15 minutes, 20 minutes before the class.
Okay, right. Not to worry. I will.
Sorry, I just asked you, where do I get the book, please?
Right. What I do I have a reference to it? It's the. Let me just write the name.
I spoke to Odin, and he put me in the class because I said I want to try it. I haven't got anything with me.
Okay, it's quite cheap, easy to order on the regular channels.
Thomas and
the Thomas Eganus introduction. And if you just went on Amazon,
yeah, and
just typed in Eganus in Sanskrit, it would come up.
Yeah.
That's E-G-E, Eganus. However, I shall write this for you, sentence E, on my screen. So hopefully my handwriting is clear enough for you, Don.
I don't know. I read that, so I think it's difficult. The first lesson, is it Putra?
Putra, meaning the sun.
Putra, Smarati, Brakatika.
So it's Prichaticha. Prichaticha. Remember, in the system of transliteration that we're using, the letter C always represents the sound cha.
Cha.
So whenever we transliterate the sound ka, we always use a K.
Yeah.
So,
is it the first lesson today or the second? This is how many weeks for this class, please? Is it this one? How many weeks already?
oh, goodness me, we're on to, well, I think we've done 7 or is it 8 weeks, something like that.
So that is why I don't know.
And we're on to lesson 4. However, you will be able to catch up because all of the previous lessons, you'll find them on the Buddhist Society website. All of the previous lessons have been recorded.
Oh,
and this one is being recorded and will be up on the website in a day or two, however long it takes.
Okay, thank you. So I can watch that in the previous lesson.
Yeah, and also you will find on the Buddhist Society website the various videos that I have done separately from this lesson, which is being recorded live. You'll find various videos that I've done on my YouTube channel. So actually, if I can just remind you now, anyone who wants to have a full up-to-date copy of the resources sheet, let me just give you and I can send it. I'm just giving you my email address.
Yeah, thank you.
So anyone who wants the up-to-date copy, just email me and I'll be able to send you the up-to-date copy of the resources sheet, which incidentally covers Pali as Sanskrit and Pali, and it covers all of the links to the YouTubes and everything that I've done. These are also available on the Buddhist Society website for the Sanskrit. So if you go up to the Sanskrit lessons page on the Buddhist Society website, just browse through there and you'll find all the various links, including my YouTube videos. But anyone who wants to email me, please do. I mean, I'm inviting you to do it, and I'll be able to send you the resources sheet with all of the links gathered together into one handy document.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dom.
Sorry, I did ask you, I can look in the previous video for the 6th lesson before, and from beginning, from until up to today, I can see it.
Oh, sure, you can. And if you've subscribed to this class, I mean, it's free of charge. Then once you've subscribed and once you've registered, then all of the previous, I think it's just a simple couple of clicks. All of the previous lessons that have been recorded will be available to you. And anyone who writes to me on this email address, equally, I can send the resources sheet where all these links to the other material, my own YouTube lessons, have also been put up.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right. So hopefully nobody will be left without the written resources to guide them. Right. We've got time for one quick one. We haven't really got time. Okay, let's do one quick one. Come on, Mariano, do sentence F for us. Unmute, Mariano.
Sorry. So let me see. Ramaha mrigam gachati, which means Rama approaches the deer.
Exactly. And with Sandhi?
Ramo mrigam gacchati.
All right. And how would you say it then if it were the deer in the plural?
Deer would be mrigang with a final N.
That's right. And be careful to make that longer. Mrigan gacchati.
Yeah, mrigang gacchati.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time. I didn't get round to, I mean, not everyone got a term, but however, not to worry, because I have made a note of those people whom I did ask this time round. Okay, I've made the note. So next time round, I'll make sure that everybody is treated equally. And hopefully, now that you've seen how easy and what fun it is, you won't hide away behind the blanks. Come on, Cora, you can do it. You can do it. Okay, thank you to you all. And I will see you next time. And I'll see some of you in 15 minutes for the Pali class. Okay, thank you to you all. Bye.